Popcorn and Pictures podcast.
Welcome to another episode of Popcorn and Pictures, where I, your host, Sam Karpinski, and your co-host, Jose Mendoza, break down the best things about the movies that we've watched. Whether or not the world is talking about them or not, we're talking about them, and that's all that matters. And they're good. So join us as we begin another rousing discussion of some films that came out recently that we like or don't like. Jose, how goes it?
Good. Typically I have a little, I always project something at the very beginning. I figured today I'll just let you talk. So yeah, nothing to say there.
Well, why don't you start us out? So just to kind of lead you into it, How to Make a Killing. Did you finish it?
I did finish it. Yeah.
All right.
Well, before we talk about that, I just have a quick comment.
Already being derailed.
We finally got some feedback on our episode. I'm just going to say for those who listen, I'm not fixing that AI voice at the very beginning. Too lazy to do it. Too lazy to redo it. Too lazy to find someone to do it. We're keeping the AI. Continue, please. How to Make a Killing, starring Glen Powell.
Otherwise, everything else in the show is AI free.
That's true. That is true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just a tiny dose of AI. Purely for technical matters. Anyway, so How to Make a Killing, smaller scale movie that came out. What was it, about a month ago? At this point, yeah, with Glen Powell, made by a director that I swear I've forgotten what he's done already. Maybe you know.
I don't, but I remember seeing.
You're muted, Jose. Technical difficulties, folks. Just
okay.
a mere moment of issues. It happens to the best of us.
I'll put elevator music during that.
Yeah, Emily the Criminal. That's what he made.
John there you
go.
But yeah, I don't recognize him. I recognize one of his movies that he made, which is not that, but I recognize something he made that had like a very, very small splash.
He has only made 3 films, one of which is a short film called Patrol, back in 2010. And then Emily the Criminal in 2022.
Yes, Emily the Criminal. That's what it was, yeah.
And How to Make a Killing in 2026. So
Emily the Criminal was like a movie that I think blew up kind of in the midst of the, COVID pandemic. We're still like,
it came out 22, so in the waning days of the COVID pandemic.
We're probably like trying to slowly get out of the house. But he made a new film starring Glen Powell. Summary about the film: Glen Powell is the protagonist. He is a family member of the Rockwell family or something along those lines. And basically his mother, Glen Powell's mother, was in a relationship, had a child before marriage, basically disowned by the family. Therefore, Glen Powell's character is disowned by the family. And this family is very, very wealthy. And there is a government contract basically, or some sort of like will that if basically he's still considered part of the family, that should the grandfather die, he will inherit the wealth. So he kills his cousins basically.
They do call it a will. That is something they do. People make a will, and that's what it is, a will.
But they can't change it though. That's where I was getting confused. Like, is that
because it made it sound like it was? It's an irrevocable will. So the person has to who makes the will has to say that. So
right.
Yeah.
I'll admit, I kind of thought the movie was okay ultimately after finishing it. I feel like there were points in the movie that had stakes, but I didn't quite feel those stakes. I feel like it kind of cheated its way through at some points, especially towards the end. I feel like, I'm not trying to yuck your gums because I knew you did like the film, but personally, maybe it was just also
affects my opinions.
No, no, no. I think we're going to agree on the next film. But yeah, just something about I just kind of felt like it cheated its way. I wasn't really impressed with the story. There was a plot twist that I think was handled pretty well. I didn't see that coming.
Spoiler
But
warning. What's the plot twist?
should I reveal it?
Yeah, we spoiler warning.
Basically, like I said, the summary is he's killing his cousins, which I should say he's very successful at it. He's very good at accidentally or intentionally killing his cousins. But he does get arrested. You see that very early on in the movie. He's in prison for a murder, but it's revealed that he's in prison for a murder that he didn't even do. Basically, it was a setup. So now he's in prison for a crime that he did not commit. So it's kind of like a nice irony with all that. I've never seen that quite done before, or I've never seen that irony done in a film. But yeah, I don't know. I felt like it didn't quite succeed at what it was trying to be.
Interesting. Yeah, I think I agree. It definitely for one thing the movie I did like it, but the movie definitely has moments where you kind of have to suspend disbelief with with the plot, just some of the mechanics of how he goes about killing his relatives. There's just a few. I wouldn't say necessarily coincidences, but it's more like, really, that person wouldn't notice XYZ. It was like,
true. And that's the thing too. It was a little too convenient. I couldn't buy into the fact that he just was not getting caught with all these murders. But I guess that's kind of the point of the story. I don't know. I felt like
this is why I ultimately liked the film, because it handled it. I felt at the end of the day, they were kind of like the director was probably kind of saying like, it's just be along for the ride, because I think he felt the theme of what he was trying to message was even more important than necessarily the mechanics of the plot. And to be fair, it's not, I'd say, a movie that takes itself too seriously. It feels very light, even though the subject matter is pretty dark. Up until I'd say really, really the end of the film. So I do think you have to suspend disbelief. However, the ending of the film which is partially tied into that twist you mentioned, kind of elevates it for me. I mean, basically the whole thesis of the film is, the corrupting power of money, and wealth in general, natural wealth. And so the main character, I mean, he has plenty of opportunities to kind of stop and back away from what he's doing and get out and win in a lot of ways, in terms of like, oh, he's now set himself up. He has a good life, but he can't stop. He keeps going and going and going. And you're right. The twist at the end is, he's in prison. That from the start of the movie, it's all kind of framed around him telling another character about how he got there, and the reasoning. How you find out it makes sense. Again, it's one of those you might have to suspend a little disbelief about, like the mechanics of it, but it also, from a character perspective, makes complete sense what happened. And the thing I'd say is it's a vehicle almost, again, to kind of drive home the point of the corrupting power of greed. And by the end of the film, you actually you see all these opportunities for him to take to get out of it. He doesn't do it, ends up in prison as an indirect consequence of his actions, not a direct consequence. But he kind of gets an out, and he takes it and comes out of prison, realizes that he kind of has ruined everything else, but instead of like being humbled, he basically just says, screw it. I'm just gonna roll with it. And he goes back to just basically loving the material things.
I guess you bring a good point. I feel like that wasn't quite, maybe it wasn't meant to be communicated, but you're right. Like, there is a point where he finds love, right? He finds like a love interest, which there is two love interests. One is just not even really in the question anymore because she's very wealthy and ends up marrying some guy. But she finds love, or my mistake, he finds love. And I guess, is that what you're referring to as like a way out? Because there are like moments where he finds happiness.
No,
but,
that's one of the things. I mean, by the time he finds love, his love interest is played by Jessica Henwick. By the time he falls in love with her, he's actually already like positioned himself in a decent financial position than he ever was before.
True. You're right.
And he's been mentored now at this point by another character that is like warning him of like kind of the path, although obviously probably didn't go to the extremes that Beckett, Glen Powell's character, did. But he's basically saying like, don't, watch yourself, or you're fall into this as well. So, and he has that opportunity to get out of it and he doesn't do it. And then, kind of the climax of the film is him kind of seeming like he's going to pull back. But then something happens that makes him kind of dive back into it, where he ends up meeting his grandfather, who threw out his mother while she was pregnant with him.
Played by Ed Harris.
Yeah, Ed Harris, yeah. And through various events, he actually ends up killing his grandfather, but not intentionally. It's a matter of self-defense.
Yeah.
But the grandfather has this whole conversation with him basically about how he dulled his conscience, for lack of a better term, and that he just doesn't really care anymore. He kind of just goes after what he wants to go after. And at the end of the film, Beckett's driving away with another character, and he repeats that narration, repeats what the grandfather said in regards to his conscience. And it's like, so he's basically just going down the route of, he does at the end of the film gain a lot of wealth and material good, but he basically like throws away his soul at the end of it. And I think that's driven home, albeit not so subtly, by the closing shot of the film, which is actually a cross. I don't know if you noticed that.
Oh, interesting. I know it's the gate closing and it makes a cross. I didn't put that together. I'll probably watch that. It's like 5 seconds. I'll probably try to catch it again. I did not notice that. I was kind of letting you drive because
maybe it's more subtle than I thought.
Maybe. Which is funny because I did remember like kind of noticing like what an interesting looking fence. I didn't notice that there was a cross there though. I was kind of letting you drive. That
was kind of the thematic meaning behind it, was like you're closing yourself off.
Sure.
From good.
And I will say, I guess it is kind of bittersweet because the other love interest, she ends up having kind of a more malicious motive. And now seemingly Glen Powell has everything he always was trying to search for, but now he's stuck with someone who's, seems objectively more evil than he is in some ways. Or maybe because you're reading so much for him that you feel bad that he's stuck with her now.
It's a little bit of both. I mean, she's definitely conniving. That's
what
fully focused on the material thing, but it's also like kind of like a consequence. He gets mixed up and he didn't stop, and now he's kind of out. But even then, he still just goes like, "Okay, I'm gonna roll with it then," because everything else is ruined.
I was letting you drive because, like I said, I thought I didn't have much to add to this film. But you are opening my eyes that maybe I just missed something. Admittedly, I did. I stretched this movie for like a whole day. I watched the first hour in the morning, and then I had something else to do later that day, and I couldn't finish it until the night of the next morning. So there's a giant gap between that. Not the best way to watch movies, but
don't do what Jose did.
But admittedly, I was enjoying. For me, I think the more entertaining part was seeing Glen Powell interact with his cousins. I thought that was the more exciting part because they're gonna die. That's the whole premise of the movie. He's gonna murder them. But I was more interested in the fact that his cousins how they were interacting with someone who they don't know is a cousin, and then when it's revealed. Does he ever reveal that to his cousin? Like, didn't he do that with
he reveals it
Toby
to
Topher
almost,
Grace?
He reveals, he reveals it to Topher Grace. He reveals it to most of. Well, I shouldn't say he reveals it to most. So, like he, aside from the first kill in the movie, he does introduce himself to some of the members of the family in various capacities. Not necessarily as he's about to kill them, but in the lead up to that.
I think for me, maybe maybe it was that giant gap that I gave between films. But I was certainly enjoying the first half of the movie where it was that interaction with his cousins and how he ultimately becomes friends with them in some way. He's also conniving, but I was more interested in, I was more engaged with the interactions of all this. And of course there's that murderous entertainment you get too of how he's gonna do it. I like how he was plotting these fun ways and how he's gonna do it. The first one was very accidental, very easy to do, but then he gets a little bit more help me out with the word.
Smart. I mean, he gets a little bit more clever with it.
There
I mean, he even says
clever.
that at some point. He kind of, and I think that's also another good little bit. Just talking about how he's slowly kind of dulling his conscience as he says, like, "Oh, the more I do it, the more I realize I'm kind of good at it."
Yeah,
and he kind of is taking some pride in that. It's like, oh, I can actually do this.
I don't know, but it's just like that last half of the movie. Maybe just didn't quite stick with me. But
I was entertained by the whole movie, like entertained, not like blown away or anything. Honestly, though, the thing that elevated the movie for me was like the last 20 minutes. It was like, oh, I thought they were going one way where he was going to pay the price in terms of either prison or execution and just stay there and realize he kind of lost everything and maybe show some repentance. But I think they did something better from a narrative standpoint, or richer from a story standpoint, was they didn't give him that easy out. He was freed by the end of the film, but he was still very much imprisoned in one of his own making.
Sure. Okay. Like I said, you're offering a new perspective that I didn't quite think. Initially, I don't know. I thought the movie was fine, but I guess you are opening my eyes a little more. I guess for me too, though, it's just like there's been so much of this eat the rich movies,
That's
certainly
fair.
Some better than others.
That's true. I think this one though, it wasn't about eat the rich. It was about see when your focus is on that wealth, and look at what this does to you, which often does happen with the rich. But it wasn't like an eat the rich and like see all these crazy, completely oblivious, out of touch people. It was more like, they're oblivious and out of touch, but then there's this guy who lets his own greed kind of overwhelm any decency he has, where he's not starting from a wealthy place.
That's kind of how I was referring it, though. Like, it is maybe not like a very obvious eat the rich, but you're right. It's like a self-destructive kind of, eat the rich in a way. Because, he is killing the rich. But you're right. It is kind of like when he gets a taste of that, how that is ultimately self-destructive. I mean, I don't know. Like when I was watching, I kind of thought about how this like trend of movies lately, like, again, there are some better than others. Parasite is like a very, very obvious one that everyone's watched and enjoys quite a bit. Another one is like The Menu, which wasn't very good. I don't know. This one, The
Menu was solid.
Did you see The Menu? I didn't know that. I did. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. I thought we saw it together. Maybe not.
No.
But
I guess my issues with The Menu I have with this movie, and the fact that, there were some scenes that were really well done. There was like, for sure, like a lot of great scenes, but something about
it's also very like slickly shot. Like it's a well shot movie.
This one or The Menu?
Oh, well, I was talking this one, How to Make It.
Okay, yeah. Okay. I mean, I'm talking kind of about both, but it's just like, I feel like it didn't quite come together for me. But you know what? I started this conversation thinking I never had to see it again. Maybe I have to. It's a matter of just sitting down and seeing the movie from start to finish.
I'll definitely. I'll say two things on it, and then I've kind of set my piece on it. But one, I probably will watch it again at some point when somebody hasn't seen it, because I do think it's a fun. I think I said to you, it's basically like a thesis on the Bible verse where it talks about money being the root of all evil. It's basically a movie thesis on that, without directly referencing that verse. So I'll watch it again. And it's fun. Is it like a great film, like a masterpiece? Not even close. But it's very fun, and the themes kind of elevate it in a way that the movie in and of itself could not. How it handles the themes, rather. And then I would also say, like, you know what? I forgot my last point. Take it away.
I'm sorry. I didn't do anything.
It's your fault. It's totally your fault. I remembered. So I will say, I do think the movie probably could have been trimmed by a scene or two.
Okay.
It did feel a little long. A little long. It didn't feel like it dragged per se, but it was like by the end you were kind of feeling the length.
Sure. I did kind of feel that too. And the movie is quite short. It's 105, like an hour and 15 minutes, I think. But it does kind of feel like it overstays its welcome.
Just over 2 hours or just under.
Yeah. I was going to ask you just a quick little segue to like a topic, which could be really short. Opinions on what I did, splitting movies between periods. I mean, obviously the best way to watch a movie is in one sitting.
Terrible. I think it's horrible. It shouldn't be done. It shouldn't be allowed. Anybody who does that should be ashamed to call themselves a cinephile.
Well, here's a question. Do you feel like if you had to do that, because I know you're pretty good at like watching a movie all the way through. And for the most part, I am too. But like the best way to see it,
Jose is a cinephile, folks. Don't worry.
The best way for sure is like in a theater. Like there's no interruptions, right? I think that's like the best thing. Like that's all your focus. For you, like have you ever had to stop a movie halfway through at home? And have you like what's your idea? Should you start from the beginning again and kind of finish it all the way through? Because that's something to consider when watching a movie. How like the pacing
for sure.
is,
Honestly, it depends on the movie. That's happened to me a few times. The most recent one it happened to was when I watched Jay Kelly, and it was just like a not natural break. I had something come up and just needed to do something real quick, and I still finished it that night, but it was like an hour gap between when I paused it and when I restarted it and finished it. So, and that one I did not restart. I paused it and picked up right where I left off, and I would have died if I had watched that movie start to finish again. Okay. So it just depends. Like if it's also like, okay, is the movie like how far in are you? Right. If you're 20 minutes in, debatable. True. I think you could make a good argument. Because maybe you were trying to press through a movie and late at night, and then you realized, I don't have the energy for this.
Oh yeah.
So it just depends on the film. It is a bad way to watch a movie.
I agree.
But, occasionally desperate times call for desperate measures.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said,
I usually mean when you're sleep deprived.
Yeah, like I said, I wasn't happy that I had to do that. But I don't know. Like I said, I thought I started the movie thinking I had plenty of time, and then turns out like I ran out of time, so I had to pause it. I'll probably give it a chance again though.
And I would advise it's I think a fun, depending on the person. I think it's a fun like movie to watch with someone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I like I said, I came to this conversation feeling like a 5, but the thing is, I will say this: I can't see it exceeding a 6. I will say that. I kind of know what's happening.
Our ratings.
Yeah,
I think again, like which is weird because I think the script was weak in certain areas, but in other areas, I thought it was exceptionally strong. So I settled on an 8, which is probably better than it deserves, but I liked it. So I'm giving it.
Good.
I'm giving it that.
Weird movie that went under the radar for a lot of people. It kind of just came and went, at least for me, where I'm from. Is it still showing?
No, I agree. It didn't last long. I mean, I think I saw it the second week it was in, or third week it was in theaters. And it was like already like shrinking show times. And I mean, it definitely was not like something that had much staying power, which was kind of weird because I don't know. It just felt like, why did A24? It didn't feel like A24 marketed it to its full potential. It almost felt like they didn't know how to market it.
Which is weird because the concept alone is kind of interesting. It's fun. Maybe it's just it came out in March. Maybe it's just not the right time to release movies. It's still kind of early in the year,
February, actually.
Yeah.
Could be wrong.
People are like us trying to catch these stupid Oscar movies. I don't know. I did feel like it came and went though. I was trying to catch
February
it in theaters.
20th is when it came out.
Oh, so a month ago? Okay. I remember like trying to watch in a theater and it was gone within like maybe not gone, but there was like one showtime at like 2:00 in the afternoon. I'm at work, it wasn't quite easy to catch. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so the verdict is Jose might give it a second watch now. I won him over. And I say give it a watch. Don't expect this to be one of your top films of all time, but it's enjoyable. It's definitely worth munching some popcorn over.
Indeed. I was good job. You did win me over. I'm willing to check it out again. But like I said, probably won't go higher than a 6, but that's still an achievement though to make me want to watch it again.
For context, folks, Jose's 6s are a poor man's 7.
Yes. Yeah. Good. That's a good description.
Yeah.
Next movie on our agenda.
Yeah. Next movie is one that just came out last weekend. Been gaining a lot of buzz, and I'm happy to say, having just seen it yesterday, it mostly lived up to the hype. That's Project Hail Mary with Ryan Gosling, directed by Phil Miller and Chris Lord, and really fun. Really emotional at times. It's obviously a sci-fi film, as the marketing would imply. And basically it just involves Ryan Gosling's character. There's a natural occurrence that is causing the sun to dim. And Ryan Gosling's character gets basically enlisted into a worldwide task force that's trying to come up with a solution to stop it from happening, since obviously the cooler the sun goes, the life will cease to exist on planet Earth.
Right,
so it's really fun. It starts with him basically in a spaceship on his way to. It
starts off very much like Alien. That's what's happening, basically.
In a way, it actually kind of does. It's not nearly as terrifying as Alien. There's some thrilling moments, but nothing on the level of Alien. There are no chest bursters.
No, but there's an alien.
There is an alien, and I mean that's kind of in the course of him trying to figure out how to save the world. Basically, he meets an alien who is also in his own spaceship that is also trying to save the world because they have the same issue with their son. So, very very interesting. What were your initial thoughts? You saw it before me.
Yeah, I was going to say too. One thing that you failed to mention was that the writer is I guess, renowned science fiction author, Adam Weir.
The writer of the book it's based on, Andy Weir. Yes,
thank you. Andy Weir, who also wrote The Martian, which was also like a huge hit back when it came out, 2016, I think. Mm-hmm. I didn't really know what to go into the movie. I was seeing posters of it, didn't think much about it. The only ad I saw for it, like a trailer, if you want to call it that, was like a TV spot that I saw when I was hanging out with my parents at their house. I saw the rock alien. I thought it was the dumbest thing ever. My mom had actually read the book, and she was really excited to see it. That's actually why I went to go see it, because it was kind of like I'm going to go take my mom to see this movie. She's really excited to see
Mendoza.
It. Indeed. And it was cool too to kind of bounce that off too. Like, she read the book, was able to see how accurate it was, which, is never really important, but it's always fun to know.
Which I've heard it's mostly accurate to the book. Did she agree with that?
Yeah. She told me that, and my brother also read it too. So they said it's fairly accurate. If there was points that, wasn't correct, I don't remember what they were, but I think what the movie does, and by the way, I do love it because you asked me that. I thought it was great. I feel like a lot of movies kind of lack what this is, which
and again,
is
a poor man's 9 or 10 is an 8 in Jose's world when he loves something.
I have my issues. I have my issues with it. But I thought it was well done. I thought it just kind of felt like Hollywood doing what Hollywood used to do, which is just an original IP, very fun, very ambitious, a lot of craftsmanship happening on display.
Yeah.
And just, also Ryan Gosling, just like so fun to watch. He's doing more, he's not Blade Runner here. He's kind of doing more Ken from Barbie. He's very funny, very entertaining. Last thing, and I'm taking the spotlight, but what I really enjoyed was the concept of having to find. I thought it was gonna be Interstellar, like having to find a new planet, the sun dimming. I thought that was like this. I feel like I've seen this before. It's like, what are they possibly gonna do that's new? I thought the science behind it all was very interesting. I think that's where Adam Weir really shines through. Andy, sorry, did I say Adam? Andy Weir shines through because, it's to summarize the movie a bit more, it's like these biological things that actually eat the sun. And it's kind of them trying to find out what exactly is
basically a form of bacteria.
Basically, yeah. And it's just the science of it was really interesting. Not that it's accurate whatsoever. There's not a point where it's like, mind bending like Interstellar could be.
Yeah.
But it was just very fun to just kind of see it unwind,
Yeah.
I think that's where I enjoyed it the most.
Yeah, I agree. I think also touching back on what you said about it, kind of being a throwback in some ways, original IP and, fun. I had a friend who saw it early and he said, it reminded me of like E.T. Obviously different type of story, but kind of in the vein of like, here's this like real fun kind of dramatic sci-fi that's also pretty family friendly for the most part. There's a few intense moments, but overall it's pretty suitable for, I think, most kids.
Right.
And it's kind of, you get at different points of the movie, you do feel kind of that Spielbergian, albeit in a different form, sense of wonder that you get. Like there's a key scene in the movie where Ryan Gosling's character Grace is experiencing this crazy event for the first time in space, and he just kind of like pauses because he's just kind of overwhelmed by the wonder of it all, just from a natural beauty perspective.
Yeah,
and you kind of feel that with the rest of the film, that kind of carry through as you're learning more about kind of the world or universe that it's in. Kind of that feeling of like wonder is like, oh, this is like the possibilities of space travel.
Yeah, for sure.
Are there aliens? We don't know for sure, at least. And we don't know, but it feels like this is like something that could happen,
Yeah, for sure.
Someday.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I was going to say too, beyond just all that too, the theme of the book, which the film, which I didn't think about originally, but I saw it on a Instagram post of all places. And I think it was Esquire saying that the movie was about male loneliness. And I'm not trying to, make this like a social, like a cultural thing, but it is when you look at it through that perspective, that is kind of a interesting take from the movie. Because you have to remember too that, in Ryan Gosling, like his world back home while he's on space is also pretty lonely. It's kind of like the idea of like finding a friend, it's just like a whole, it's just about finding a friend who's not really like your typical friend, and just kind of seeing him like finally create a relationship with something that you just don't really see throughout the whole film. I thought that was just very pleasant.
Yeah. It's fun. I don't think it's necessarily unique to, men, but
no, of course not. No, but something that's not really talked about in films. I feel like maybe that's not true. I guess there is. Now that I'm thinking about it, there are a few. I mean, Drive is another example with Ryan Gosling. That's actually like a male lonely movie.
See, that one, I think you could make an argument for is more that way than this.
Yeah, true. But you going back to the whole like Hollywood thing, and the movie does feel very like, it was made to appeal to a lot of people, right? It's not like this crazy art house film.
Yeah.
But I think what makes this movie stand out from the rest,
I think there are some art house elements to it.
For sure, times. Yeah. The camera work, is certainly fantastic. It's not experimental, but it's very well handled. I feel like how this one stands out from the rest is that like the emotions actually hit. I was seeing some of the reviews of our friends on Letterboxd, and they said that is it just like in the moment thing where we're enjoying it because like it's easy to process. I don't know. I feel like this is a outlier because the emotions they do hit.
Which I like going into the movie. I was honestly a little skeptical just because it was so hyped. Obviously, I don't know of anyone who's seen it yet that didn't like it. And the reviews obviously have been stellar as well. I mean, there's even some reviews saying, "Oh, this is the first like Oscar contender of the year."
I think it will be.
Oscar. Yeah. I think just because of the mainstream appeal and the visual effects and Ryan Gosling star turn, it will definitely be in the conversation. I could see it also being a best adapted screenplay nominee as well. But kind of going for that, I was skeptical. And even in the very beginning of the film, it's like, okay, I've seen this kind of before, different movies, waking up from, a deep slumber in space. It's like, okay, that's normal. But I can't even remember exactly when like I locked in. But there was a moment where I locked in and was just kind of like gripped from that point on to the rest of the film, and at different points where it was because I had no familiarity with the source material, so I had no idea really what was going to happen other than I thought some sort of positive ending, but how we got there is another matter. And I really you feel the emotions of kind of what's going on at different points, and it's just exceedingly well done. It's kind of one of those prime examples for me of like not quite just a movie, because I do think there's some bigger themes at play with it, but it's very much an entertainment driven film. And the emotions are geared in a way to entertain, and then not necessarily thought provoking per se.
Sure. I think that's what I was trying to say too, like the emotions hit, going back to like that comment that I made. Because like movies I feel like have some sort of statement to make, right? I'm trying to think like an example from last year, but I guess like I feel like I always have to bring this movie up, but Poor Things, I feel like entertainment wasn't really, or even like Begonia wasn't really like the main focus. It was kind of more like delivering a message. I feel like this movie's main focus was to entertain, right? Where again, I feel like it's just it's really like up there at its best. I feel like this is what Hollywood should be doing. My issues with it,
well, also like from a blockbuster perspective, right? You mentioned how it's not really a traditional art house film.
Yeah,
like this is definitely a blockbuster type movie.
Yeah,
but it's an original IP. It's not, it's not just another franchise film. Nothing wrong with franchise films if they're done well.
No. Yes.
But, it's nice to see, okay, we can also apply those blockbuster sensibilities to something rather original.
Yeah, for sure. I was like thinking to myself, like what, and I don't know if I could articulate it properly, but like what exactly is missing from like these last few big movies, right? Like F1 last year. Speaking of franchises, like Avatar, the third one, whatever it was, Fire and Ash. No, this one, like I said, it's really, it really feels epic. It feels pandering, but in the best way possible for like a large group of audience members. My issues were with it though, and I'm going to kind of talk. My issues with it was that I feel like it had the Lord of the Rings issue. It had way too many endings, and I felt that this is not at the fault of the movie, but it was really illustrated because I don't know what my theater was thinking, but they turned off the AC for some reason. Like it was a hot day here. The AC turned off. It was a packed theater. So for basically almost 3 hours, we're just all inhaling circulating air. The body heat was just, you could just feel it, and it just got so muggy. Can you imagine how frustrating it was? Like thinking, oh, the movie's over. I need to get outside. And there's like 6 more endings, kind of a spoiler maybe, but that was my issue. So maybe,
I get what you're
not at fault of the movie, but I felt it. I certainly felt it.
It's long.
Yeah.
It's definitely a long movie. Not as long as Return of the King.
Sensationally, I felt how long that movie was.
But definitely long. I think it goes actually to less so the content of the movie that it goes on that long, but more the way it's edited. One technical quibble I do have with the movie is I felt like it cut back and forth a little bit too much between like the present where he's in the spaceship and flashbacks as to kind of how he got there. And I think it should have been, some of that should have been a little bit more front loaded. It got to a point where it was cutting back and forth almost too much, and that felt like it added too much to the length. Where some of those scenes probably weren't even necessary, to be honest. But it was still a good backstory, and some of it necessary. But I think it would have been better received if it was more front loaded, because by the time you almost get to the end, they're still flashing back.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, we're at the end game now, like, are we really need to keep seeing how we got here?
It's interesting. Yeah, I agree. It's interesting that you said how it should have been front loaded, because you're right. I did feel that that I'm like, why are we going back in time to see how we got here? I didn't really notice how much I cared about that until the end. There's like two timelines happening. I didn't realize how much I cared about that story until the end of the timeline where he's back home, if that makes sense. But I would like to kind of see a recut of the movie to see how well it would translate if it was just like a straightforward linear narrative. And that's something I do want to know about the book too, that I have to ask my mother and my brother if the story is like that in the book. I don't know. But yeah, like I said, I didn't realize how
brought your mom on. She would have been a good consultant to this episode.
Oh my God. She would, I love her, but I think I don't think she'd give us a chance to talk, honestly.
She's just that passionate about the book and the movie.
Yeah, totally. But shoot, I was going to add another comment, which I forgot what it was.
You're talking about being front loaded. And
yeah, I mean, that was it. I just, I remember being irritated that we kept going back. And then towards the end, I think it was the moment where, which is funny because it's like at the very, very end. But it kind of explains how he ended up being on the ship. I'm not going to spoil that, but that was like, oh, I guess this is kind of the payoff of that whole flashback scene.
Anticlimactic.
You thought it was anticlimactic
for that specific portion of the film, the flashbacks of like how he got it. It was like, okay, this is it. Like you kind of felt that coming based on.
I guess, but again, it's something I didn't really consider because I was so invested with like what was happening in space that I kind of forgot to even ask that question to begin with. I guess that's kind of a testament. That's kind of a testament on how. What's the word I'm looking for? Immersive. Well done. Immersive. That whole space sequence was handled.
Hard to one of the major set pieces of the film is probably, it's gonna be hard to top that the rest of the year. I think there are some contenders that will try or if not succeed, but it was set a very high bar.
Have you ever seen Arrival with Denis Villeneuve?
I have.
Or not with, but directed by.
I have. Yeah. I have.
That's right. That's right. You did.
I love him to death, but it's his most overrated film.
Interesting. I got a lot of I saw a lot of inspirations from Arrival in this movie, in the sense that a lot of entertainment came from kind of the initial interaction rather with Rocky, which is the alien, by the way, and Grace. But the scene that came to mind was where Grace was just trying to find a way to communicate. And anyway, he brings out a clock, and then eventually Rocky brings out his version of a clock, which it's funny because like I just remember seeing that device. I'm like, oh, I remember thinking to myself like, oh, that's a clock. And then Grace like, oh, that's a clock. It's just like kind of moments like that is just really great scenes handled really well.
World building.
That's what the movie is. It's like world building. It's a lot of great scenes, but also a lot of which I feel like we haven't talked about. But there's like a lot of a lot of heart, like a lot of just like feel good moments, which you don't really expect in a movie like this, which, is kind of like what E.T. is. So kind of like what you said earlier.
Yeah. Well, like I said, that was my friend who compared it, so I can't claim all the credit to that. But it very much is fitting. So Project Hail Mary, you gave it
I gave it an 8.
Yep.
Maybe a 9. I don't know. I guess
you
the
gave
ending.
It an 8. I knew. I just was letting you say it.
No, I know that. I did give it an 8. I'm like, could it go up? Maybe. Again, I hate to apply like external factors into like my consideration, but I really did feel the ending and the.
No, I think honestly, and I did not have that. I saw it at 10 p.m. The AC was, I don't know if it was on or not, but it didn't need to be. So that was not a factor for me at all. I will say, I mean, maybe the length because of how late I saw it, but not that much. I think the reason I also gave it an 8, really the biggest reason I gave it an 8 was because of some of the editing choices. I didn't feel like it serviced the plot as well as or the movie as well as it could have, and that kind of held it back for me at from being a true masterpiece.
Okay, yeah,
it's very well done in a lot of areas. It's very entertaining.
I agree.
A great another star performance from Ryan Gosling.
Totally,
but and Rocky obviously is a walking merchandise piece that is just going to be all over at some point soon.
That is true.
But he's cool. He's a great kind of going back like E.T. He's a great like lovable alien, that will be now added to cinematic sci-fi lore for the rest of time.
What a great! I know we're trying to transition, but last thing about Rocky, because I feel like he has to have some sort of shout out. Well, what a like a feat to have such a cute and just very charismatic fake character. It's computer animated without a face, which is kind of like impressive that they made you love him so much. Without really a voice, his voice is basically a text-to speech thing, right? It's kind of crazy how much you love this thing, considering like he has nothing that psychologically draws you to him.
Yeah, absolutely. They do, and that's a great credit to the writing, right? They do an excellent job of building his character organically, and also not just through the dialogue or dialogue such as it is with him, but through the expressive nature and symbols and things like that.
So, for sure.
Rocky, breakout star.
Indeed. Hopefully he comes out in Creed 4.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Are you going to get the Project Hail Mary Lego set?
Is there a Lego set?
There is.
I'm not until. I never got into Legos. You know this.
That's too bad.
I don't know.
Moving on. Moving on. You mentioned our boy Dennis with Arrival earlier. And funny enough, one of the trailers I saw before Project Hail Mary, Inglorious IMAX, was his next film, Dune Part 3, which recently had its trailer released, I think about like a week or so ago. And talk about like getting hyped for a movie. Such a wonderfully constructed trailer. Like it just, if you don't get hyped by that type of trailer, the way it's cut and scored, like I don't know what to tell you. Like I am so looking forward to that movie now. I mean, not that I wasn't before, I was, but like this is like, this is probably going to be really, really good.
I agree. I think it's gonna be good. I think I'm excited for Denis Villeneuve. I think he's the reason why I'm excited for it. I'll tell you this much. When I was always excited for both the first Dunes because I read the book. I loved the first Dune. Oh, that's right. Dune Part 2 was exciting because I love the book and I was excited to see like, he's doing such a great job at translating a book that was always considered unfilmable into this fantastic epic. I read Dune Messiah and I put it down because I was not digging it. I don't know. I might pick it up again just in time for the movie,
Interesting.
but I was
Well,
not.
so
Did you ever read
I'm not.
Messiah?
No, I haven't. I'm going to be reading it before the movie comes out as well. Do you know like the story behind Doom Messiah?
Uh, that's the thing. I can't even remember like what exactly.
Well,
I
it's
know.
very interesting, you know, where I'm sure where once the movie comes out, we're talk more in detail about it. But the Doom Messiah, he didn't necessarily plan to write a sequel to Dune,
This
at
being
least not
Frank
that
Herbert.
soon. Yeah,
you're
Frank
referring
Herbert.
to. Yeah,
But he actually didn't like some of the what people took away
that's right. I do remember that.
from Dune. And so he wrote Doom Messiah in response to that because it almost like I can't remember like his quotations like how he said, but it was basically like people got it wrong. Like that's not
Yeah,
what I was trying to say. You know that or
it's like
that's not what I was saying. Here's just to emphasize it, let me write Doom Messiah and show
sure.
exactly what I'm trying to say.
It was it's like people. It's like a lot of finance bros how they see Jordan Belfort. Yeah, for sure. But after seeing Wolf of Wall Street, but yeah, I mean, I remember that much. But again, I was more. I think it almost jumps the shark in some ways. The second book. I'm not going to spoil anything here, but
Yeah,
based off the
we're
promotion
getting
material,
into we're getting into that. I will say like Dennis, it's his like favorite book, and he thinks it like he has no interest himself. Obviously, Warner Brothers, if it's successful, will probably continue on, but
yeah, and
he
I
has
think it
no
will.
interest in finishing, doing any more adaptations past this because part 3 is going to be an adaptation of Doom Messiah.
Mhm.
And I had a friend who has read the books and also kind of says, yeah, like it ends so perfectly thematically into Messiah. Yeah,
Okay.
the narrative. It's like, yeah, do you even want to go back? So it also, and I was talking to another friend today kind of about it, and he made the point, I think it's true, like narratively and thematically, also Doom Messiah is probably the closest to the director's sensibilities. So
Okay.
that will
Interesting.
also probably play to his strengths. So
Okay.
yeah,
I mean, I'm excited to see it. Like I said, yeah. Again, it's primarily, I guess if there's any, which is like hardly any sense of hesitation, it's the fact that I didn't enjoy the second book. But again, Denis Villeneuve hasn't really disappointed me yet. I think he's great at world building, as evident from the first 2 Dune films that he's done, and Blade Runner 2049. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do. I think he'll do a good job.
Very much looking forward to it. It's also. Oh, did you have something more to add?
I'll say at the end after we're done talking about the trailer. I have something to say about. Continue, please.
I was about to kind of transition partially to something else.
Okay. Doomsday, I feel like that's very.
Well, that's what I was getting transitioned into.
Gotcha.
He spoiled it, folks. He spoiled it. Oh,
you texted me about.
So
you
Dune.
You text about Doomsday. I didn't realize. I guess I'll spoil it. I didn't realize they're coming out the same day. When you texted me like, did you see Doomsday? I thought that was you telling me like, oh, Dune Part 2 Dune Messiah trailer came out. I thought that's what you were trying to tell me. I didn't realize that was the next Barbenheimer. And I don't like that.
Well, say it because for anybody who's been living under a rock, Avengers Doomsday is scheduled to be released the same day, December 18th of this year, along with Doom Part 3. And it's been for a while like conventional wisdom, like one of them is going to move, because they going after similar demographics, both very sci-fi type films. And like, why would you do that? Well, here's the thing. With the release of the trailer, neither Disney/Marvel nor Warner Brothers is looking like they're going to blink. Like the marketing material is already starting with those dates. So now it's actually what was the meme, like Doomsday, is like it's actually going to happen, which is kind of cool. Still not sure it's the best strategy, although it is the holidays, so there'd probably be a little bit more leeway for both films than you would like if you say release them in the summer. But I do find it really funny that Avengers Endgame, the last Avengers movie. Some would say the last good Marvel movie. That it was the first film shot entirely in IMAX, and Avengers Doomsday is not going to play in one IMAX theater for at least the first couple of weeks because Dune already booked it.
No, really?
Yeah. So Dune,
man, I did not know that.
it's crazy, right? So it's still going to be in like Dolby theaters and other premium formats, but not IMAX, which is hilarious to me.
That must piss them off really bad.
Who?
Not piss them off. I guess.
I don't know if they care, honestly.
Probably not. I don't think so.
I was talking with a buddy about that as well, and it's like, well, and he was
I guess
like,
you don't care.
Yeah, it's look, both films are likely going to make a lot of money.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And it's like, I think I love Marvel, but I'm not very excited for Doomsday for a variety of reasons, which we won't go into here. But Dune 3, my gosh, like that looks so good. And I am excited to do the back-to-back a la Barbenheimer.
I was going to bring up Barbenheimer. I feel like Barbenheimer was like the perfect accident, just like two completely different movies. The juxtaposition is just like so great. You got Barbie, you got Oppenheimer. Like it's pink and it's like doomsday basically, nuclear war. I feel like this is very cynical. I feel like I should be happy about it, but something about it just like feels like that's the thing too. You mentioned it. It's like the same demographic is going to be watching this movie. I think what made Barbenheimer so great too was that I feel like there was kind of it feels like a Venn diagram.
It was counter programming.
There's a middle part. It's cinephiles, right? But like on one side, it's like into crazy cinephiles who like love Christopher Nolan. On the other side, it's like, let's be honest, it was like a lot of what was that demographic? Like females? I don't know, but
really female, but also just mainstream, like people, younger demographic who like fun humor.
Thank you. Yeah, mainstream is mainstream is like the perfect way to describe it. I feel like Barbenheimer, just like that juxtaposition, like kind of brought both of those together, like cinephiles and mainstream, to just like enjoy that day. I know Barbie was certainly more successful, which I feel like. Go ahead.
Yeah, I will say, not to the extreme degree. There is a little bit of an element with that with Doomsday, because of the two, Avengers Doomsday is much more of a popcorn movie. It's, at least it seems like that. I don't expect to come out of it, no matter how good it is, being like, wow, this is a masterpiece,
Yeah.
This is great. That's true. But Dune, like, there's an expectation. I mean, we'll see if it fulfills it or not. It's like, oh, this is going to be like a true end to a story. Mm-hmm. And it's going to deliver themes beyond just the generic good and evil, which is probably going to be more Avengers Doomsday. Nothing wrong with that, again, but it's going to be more nuanced, so in this scenario, and let's be honest, there's so many people like Marvel, it's very mainstream. And even though they've taken a hit in recent years because of the content of what's going to be in Doomsday, that's not going to affect that movie at all, unless it's just a complete stinker and word of mouth afterward. Like, people are going to show up mainstream moviegoers, like they're going to show up. Dune is going to be, there's going to be an element of mainstream movie going to that, but it's also a lot more cinephile. So the Dune is the Oppenheimer to Doomsday's Barbie.
I can see that. Yeah. I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, I know, like, there's people in my head who I know went to go see Barbie and then decided to see Oppenheimer just because, like, that was the thing to do. Those people are not going to go see these two movies, which is fine. And I'm sounding more sour than I mean to. I
think it's fair. Because I thought the same thing. Like, why would you book them two together?
Yeah,
it's because I don't want to cannibalize it. Now, from what I've actually heard, the movie, like, actual cinema owners, they're not too worried about it. They're actually looking forward, because it's like, this is great. Two major blockbuster films in the holiday, going into the holiday weekend. Like, this is going to be just repeat business, like, consistently. The one that's probably actually going to suffer the most is the next Jumanji, which comes out a week before.
Oh, for sure. Who's gonna watch that? Yeah,
it's it'll probably do, I bet, decent like the first week, but when Dune and Doomsday come in, it's like, yeah, that's gonna drop like a stone.
Like I said, I feel cynical for sure, and like because I remember like even after Barbenheimer, people were like, "Do you remember like when Saw came out and Paw Patrol? And they were trying to make that a thing, Saw Patrol." But ultimately, I'm excited.
Not the same appeal.
No, definitely not. But you know what? Like in my head, I'm so excited for it. I've fallen off. I'll still watch the movies, but I don't really like. I'm not really as excited for the Marvel films. Yeah. But in the back of my mind, I'm excited to see like the X-Men. I'm excited to see that.
It's definitely negatively, I'd say, leaning on nostalgia. But look, we're all suckers for nostalgia, and
it's cool to think like in one room, I'll get to see like Cyclops, talking to Mr. Fantastic. Where in the other room, one of my favorite directors is like just handling like this like new franchise. In a way, kind of his Lord of the Rings. So it's exciting. It's an exciting time. So I'm down for it
for sure. Yeah. It's shaping up to be a pretty good year movie wise.
Yeah,
totally. A lot of big blockbuster films and art house releases in the mix. So it's a good time to be a movie fan, and a good time hopefully for cinemas. Hopefully the theaters will get a big boost this year, since there's more films it seems like people are interested in seeing, and Doomsday could be a big part of that. Just one little postscript, another trailer I saw is the first Marvel film or really the first and last Marvel film before Doomsday, which is Spider-Man, also with a day in the title, Brand New Day. And
true,
it looks fun. I will say I was a little lukewarm on it comparatively, especially coming out of the heels of Dune's Part 3 trailer.
Yeah.
Because it released the day after, and it was like the Spider-Man trailer wasn't bad, but it was just like the Dune trailer just like like very like swept you away. So looking forward to all the above, and hopefully it just leads to profits for all the theaters.
Yeah, that's ultimately like what this is good for, like at the end, like theaters, it feels like it's a niche thing now to go to the movies, considering how like, now streaming is just taking over. But, at the end of the day, this is like a feat to get people to go to the movies. As Sean Baker said, like, it's like a community. You can't get that experience really anywhere else. Going back to the Spider-Man trailer, you know what? Like I said, I'm falling off Marvel. Spider-Man's always my boy. I think, I'll watch anything Spider-Man. So I'm excited for it. Yeah. I wish if it was, Tobey Maguire, different thing. Tom Holland, I'll accept it. So yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
We'll never get a Tobey Maguire again, but that's fine. That's fine.
I mean, he's in his early 50s now. So, or late 40s. I think it's okay. We got him. We got what we wanted. We know what we don't need to continue going back to the well. And that's something I will say is interesting. This is the first Spider-Man film that seems like it's going to really push into, not necessarily a new direction apart from the comics, but a new direction in the films that we haven't necessarily seen before.
For sure.
So that will be exciting. So
yeah, totally.
Yeah, a lot of fun stuff on tap. Next week we'll see what we're talking about, but I have a feeling there'll be possibly a certain Italian plumber that we may be discussing.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Who knows? Yeah. I'm going to see him and his green clad brother in IMAX opening night. So it should be fun. Should be out of this world.
We'll talk about it, but it seems like they're going for a Super Smash Bros. Thing. Did you hear the news? If you didn't, we'll talk about it next week. Don't worry.
That's a tease, folks. That's what we call a tease. So
that's a tease.
We're going to wrap it up there. Go see How to Make a Killing. Don't need to rush, but go see it. Go see Project Hail Mary. Support original blockbusters. And get hyped for Doom Part 3 and hype for Doomsday and Doomsday as a package deal. And enjoy Spidey as long as we have him. Until next time, signing off. I, your host, Sam Karpinski, and your co-host,
Jose.
Jose had a little bit too much popcorn and soda at the cinemas. It's still, still causing havoc, but we're signing off. Bye, everybody.
Bye.